Mary Wimbush plays Julia and Isabel Dean, Jane, in Noel Coward's comedy of the 1920s, Fallen Angels.
You get hiccups if you gobble like that.
I'm not gobbling.
What time's Willy coming?
You ought to be here now.
Oh, I say. Muriel Fenchurch is divorcing her husband.
That's uncommonly generous of him.
Do you want any more coffee?
No, thanks, dear.
Well, I think you better have some more coffee.
Why?
Because I want you to see our new treasure.
Oh, all right. Didn't know we had one.
Seems a nice girl, but she's rather grand.
The main thing is that the other one's gone. I couldn't bear her. Never could remember her name. What was it?
Miss Fanway.
Oh.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. What's your name?
Jasmine, sir.
Oh.
We've arranged that she shall be called Saunders.
Ah. Oh, yes. Well, I shan't want any more coffee. Saunders?
Yes, sir. You are quite right, sir. I was in the employ of His Grace, the Duke of Sidrington, for 3 years.
Oh?
His Grace, one of our foremost golfers, as you well know, sir, never took coffee before a day on the course. His Grace always said that it made his hand unsteady.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Do you need me for anything else, sir?
No. Do you want to say anything else?
No, I don't think there's anything. Oh, perhaps there is one thing. Which course are you playing on?
Chichester.
Are you taking all your clubs, sir?
Yes.
Oh, dear. Surely you must know, sir, your irons are all you need at Chichester.
Of course.
Your irons, sir. Quite sufficient.
Oh, she seems all right, doesn't she?
Quite. I wish Willy had learned to be punctual.
Oh, be patient. He'll be down in a moment.
What are you going to do?
Oh, nothing in particular. I shall tidy up and dust a bit. Set Saunders a good example. Lunching with Jane, and we should probably go to a matinee.
There now, didn't I tell you your day would pan out naturally?
Yes, but I did have a presentiment when I first woke up.
But it was nothing definite. You said so.
Well, of course it wasn't. You can't define a presentiment. That's what's so horrid. Feeling of being unsettled.
I expect it's indigestion.
No, I really felt quite odd, as though something damnable were going to happen.
If you go on thinking in that vein, something damnable will happen.
You're being rather taciturn and important this morning.
Well, I like to see you worrying yourself over nothing.
No, I'm not really. I'm very happy.
Are you? Honestly?
Of course.
Sure?
Positive.
Good. I think it's awfully silly of people to lead unhappy lives, don't you?
Yes, I suppose so. We shall both know the first minute we go off one another, but we're not in love a bit now, you know.
I don't know anything of the sort.
It's true.
The first violent passion is naturally over.
Thank God.
Why?
It's so uncomfortable, passion.
Yes, but it's a thoroughly fundamental thing. One couldn't do without it.
You mean we couldn't?
No, I don't. We could and are doing without it.
One can't really be in love without passion. That's why I said we weren't anymore.
Don't be annoying, Julia. You know perfectly well we've reached a remarkably sublime plane of affection and good comradeship, far above...
Just ordinary being in love, I quite agree.
We are in love.
Hypocrite, we're not.
We are, in a different way.
There is no different way. It's exactly the same with everybody. I've discussed it with Jane.
Damn Jane.
By all means, but she knows just as I do.
You're psychoanalytical neurotics, both of you.
Oh, that sounds lovely, Fred.
Do you always discuss everything with Jane?
Yes, everything.
Even the most intimate relationships? Us?
Oh, yes, you know I do. I always have.
Oh, I think that's dreadful.
Oh, nonsense. You discuss everything with Willy.
Yes, but different.
Less accurate, I expect. That's the only difference.
Sure, married life was much easier in Victorian days.
Well, if you think women didn't discuss things minutely in the Victorian days just as much as they do now, you're very much mistaken.
But it was all so much simpler.
For the men.
For the women, too. They didn't know so much.
They didn't give themselves away so much, poor dears. They were too frightened.
Anyhow, on the whole, I'd rather be as we are.
Ah, that's right, dear.
But you're wrong when you say I don't love you anymore.
I didn't say that at all. I know you love me very much, and I love you too. You're a darling. But we're not in love. Can't you see the difference?
I suppose so. But I don't want to.
Oh, well, we won't go on about it anymore. You should go and play golf and quarrel with Willy, and I'll stay at home and quarrel with Jane, and we'll all be awfully happy. Coming home tomorrow?
Perhaps tonight, if the weather's bad.
Well, you might telephone me and let me know.
All right.
Ah, that's Willy.
I'll let him in and save Jasmine the trouble.
Saunders.
Willy, you're disgracefully late.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fred. Jane was playing good morning, Julia.
Now, Willy.
How are you?
Feeling grand. Fred and I have just had a psychological romp. It was very stimulating.
It's depressed me for the day.
Jane's been a trifle difficult this morning.
In what way?
She woke up with a presentiment.
Good Lord.
She went on about it all through breakfast.
Oh, how tactless of her. I at least waited until after breakfast.
Have you had one too?
Yes, a beast. But don't ask me to explain it. It's quite intangible at present.
We'd better go, Willy. Leave them to their dreary forebodings. We'll be very hearty and jolly all day and drink a lot of beer at lunch.
Yeah, the car's downstairs.
How thoughtful of you not to bring it up.
Have you got your clubs?
Oh, they're in the hall. I'm only taking my irons.
Why?
Because Saunders said so.
Who on earth is Saunders?
Never mind.
Goodbye, Julia. Don't encourage Jane too much, for heaven's sake.
Whatever encouragement there is will be mutual. I feel in a particularly heart-to-heart mood today.
Goodbye, darling.
Bye, love. Don't forget to telephone.
I won't.
Ah, Saunders.
May I clear, madam?
Oh, yes, please. Does it feel awful to be in a new place, Saunders?
No, ma'am. Not particularly.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm sure I should be terrified and break everything.
It's getting used to things, ma'am.
I hope you're not secretly hurt at our refusing to call you Jasmine.
Oh, no, ma'am. I don't mind.
Sticky name, isn't it? For the house.
Well, I've never thought about it much, madam.
Oh, that's good. Then you won't miss it, will you?
No, madam.
Oh, if rather a strange-looking man calls during the morning, will you take him straight to the bathroom?
Yes, madam. Shall I run a bath for him?
No. It'll be the plumber.
Oh, Julia! Julia! Oh, good morning, madam. You don't know, that's all. You just don't know.
What on earth's the
You
matter?
both go away at once.
Oh, all right. Where should we go?
Oh, don't be maddening, Julia. I'm serious. Read that.
Oh, it's the Blue Grotto at Capri.
Yes, I know it is, but read it.
Oh, my God.
There now.
Oh, this is frightful.
Oh, what are we going to do?
Think. We must think. Now, when is he coming?
Now, I suppose. Today. Any
Oh,
moment.
Jane, I wonder if he's changed.
No, I shouldn't think so. That type never
Oh,
does.
don't say that type like that. It's most irreverent.
I packed just a few things very hurriedly. I thought perhaps Brighton for a few days until our passports were properly vised.
Passports?
Yes, for America.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Oh.
Now, we must keep calm and talk it over quietly. It's the only way. Now, sit down. There. Now then, we've got the whole day before us.
I only hope we have.
Well, you don't think he'll arrive before lunch?
Oh, he might. He might. He never had the slightest restraint. Oh, after all these years, I do think it's cruel.
It might have happened before. That would have been much worse.
I don't know. I wonder. We might have had more strength to resist.
No, dear. We've never been exactly bursting with that kind of strength.
You know what we are, don't you? We're the slaves of coincidence, and we always have been. Oh, it does make life so dreadfully difficult.
Yes, but easier at moments. Well, we can at least face it together.
It's going to be agony facing him together.
We must be firm. After all, we're not in love with him anymore.
Well, not at the moment. But suppose when he arrives, he's just as attractive and glamorous as ever. Oh, we shall both go down like ninepins.
I shan't. I know, Jane, I shan't. I'm too fond of Fred.
Yes, I've been bolstering myself up like that all the morning, arguing that I'm too fond of Willy. Everything's quite different now, but I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm terribly afraid. You see, Julia, we've got to face facts. We're not really in love with our husbands anymore.
Oh, yes, I told Fred all that this morning.
Oh, Julia, I do wish we hadn't when we did.
And it's a fat lot of use wishing that now.
Maurice. It gives me a fearful sort of illegitimate thrill even to look at his name.
Now then, Jane.
I wonder if he realises he's been the one grand passion in both our lives.
Of course he does. It's almost his profession.
Our love for our husbands, that's been on an entirely different plane all along. Nicer and worthier and all that sort of thing, but not half so soul-shattering.
Oh. Wonder if he can speak English now.
I hope not. He was so lovely in French.
And what would Willy and Fred say if they knew?
Oh, don't.
Now, Fred, I think, would be sensible after the first shock had worn off.
Willy wouldn't.
After all, it isn't as if we've been unfaithful since marriage. It all happened before.
Yes, but men never forgive that sort of thing, no matter when it happens.
It seems so unfair that men should have the monopoly of wild oats.
Oh, they haven't. But it's our duty to make them think they have.
When I think of Italy and cypresses and the moonlight, the glorious romance of it all.
Don't, dear. You'll only upset yourself.
And you remember how I wrote to you in Scotland and told you all about it?
Yes, dear.
Oh, how I adored him. And nobody knew a thing. I left Aunt Mary a week earlier than I said and got out of the train at Pisa. He was waiting for me. We used to go up and look at the Leaning Tower night after night.
The toast, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. That will do, Saunders.
Yes, madam.
Oh, don't tell me I know. It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Of course.
Oh, what a devil!
J'arriverai alors cette semaine. J'espère avec tout mon cœur que vous ne n'oubliez pas, Maurice.
Oh.
Cette semaine.
And today, Saturday. What are we going to do?
Now, listen, Jane. We must get the whole situation laid out quite clearly like patients, and then we shall know where we are. Now then.
Well, now then what?
Two wretchedly happy married women.
Yes.
Both during the first years of their married lives having treated their exceedingly nice husbands to the requisite amount of passion and adoration.
Yes, yes.
After a certain time, the first ecstasies of passion and adoration subside, leaving in some instances an arid waste of discontent.
Lovely, darling. Yes?
In some instances, rank boredom and rampant adultery on both sides.
Don't be gross, Julia.
And in other rare instances, such as ours, complete happiness and tranquility, devoid of violent emotions of any kind, with the possible exception of golf.
Quite.
Quite. And there lies the trouble, the lack of violent emotion, fireworks, etc.
I don't want fireworks.
No, neither do I. Not the nice part of me, but there's a beastly, unworthy thing in both of us waiting to spring. It sprang before our marriage and is waiting to spring again. Hasn't been fed for a long time.
Julia.
Well, to put it mildly, dear, we're both ripe for a lapse.
No, it's a relapse.
Perfectly appalling. And we're laughing on the very edge of an abyss.
Can't help it. It's sheer hysteria.
We both happen to throw our respective bonnets over the same windmill.
Oh, do stop.
And in a critical moment in our matrimonial careers, that windmill is coming to wreck us.
Yes, but I don't want to be wrecked. I don't want to be wrecked.
Saunders will hear you.
Oh, Julia, don't you see? What I suggested in the first place, it's our only way. We must go at once, anywhere out of London.
I shall do no such thing. It would be most cowardly.
A blind goat could see through that, dear.
All the same, I shall stay and face it.
If you do, I shall.
And there's not the least necessity for us both to suffer.
If you imagine I should enjoy being by myself in Brighton while you were gallivanting about London with Maurice, you're very much mistaken.
I should be too much upset to gallivant.
No, dear, it won't do.
What do you mean it won't do?
We stand or fall together.
I don't mind standing together, but I won't fall together. It would be most embarrassing.
Anyway, I'm not going to be left out of anything.
Oh, Jane, I'm torn between my better self and my worse self. I want terribly badly to be a true, faithful wife and look after Fred and live in peace. And I want terribly to have violent and illicit love made to be and be frenziedly happy and supremely miserable.
We're both in the same boat. But the most awful contingency is that one of us may give in utterly, leaving the other shrouded forever in unrewarded virtue.
Meaning the one he fancies most.
Exactly.
Well, there won't be any virtue at all, just biting jealousy.
We must make a vow that however badly one of or both of us behaves during the black and scarlet period before us, when it's all over and died down, we can reinstate ourselves on the same concrete basis of friendship and intimacy without the slightest sacrificing of pride on either side.
Oh, yes, yes, Jane, darling, I vow it now.
Darling. So do I. Whatever we do,
And whatever we say,
we're temporarily unhinged by sex.
afterwards, perfect friendship.
And no apologies.
Not one. Oh, Jane, I can't go through with it after
Now,
all.
Julia, you made a vow.
I'm sorry, I can't. It would be too frightful.
Agony.
Let's do your plan and fly.
Together?
Yes, 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 together.
Oh, he'll think it's so rude.
No, don't weaken, Jane.
Frenchmen are so particular about that sort of thing.
But it can't be helped. One can carry good manners too far.
I know. We can leave him a letter.
But of course, saying we've been called away.
Yes, that would ease my conscience.
Now, you write it while I pack a few things. It's Maurice.
You're right.
We're sunk.
I suppose so.
Oh, anyhow, it will be good for our friends.
I'm extremely hungry, Julia.
So am I, ravenous.
It's getting on for 9.
I know.
There's not the least likelihood of his arriving at this time.
Oh, you might, especially if the Paris trains were
We
late.
don't know whether he was coming from Paris.
Well, where else could he be coming from?
Don't snap at me, Julia. He might be coming from the Channel Islands or Brussels. He's frightfully
Well,
cosmopolitan.
I'm quite certain that he's coming from Paris.
Well, anyway, the idea was for him to arrive unexpectedly and discover us dining together in a charming domestic surroundings, not sitting twiddling our thumbs with eager, strained expressions with the room decorated like a bridal suite.
And that, dear, was not in the best of taste. Oh, Saunders, what have you got there?
Salted almonds, madam.
Oh, good.
Are you hungry, Saunders?
No, madam, I've already eaten.
No, you have.
Well, will you have an almond?
Well, it might assuage the pangs a little.
Oh, the table looks pretty, doesn't it?
Lovely, darling.
Oh, it's been the most shattering day.
I shall never forget your face when, after all that suspense, the plumber arrived.
Well, I'm thankful he did all the same.
Why?
Domestic reasons.
And why do you suppose that Violet Coswick chose today of all days to come to tea?
And talk exclusively of Paris and Frenchmen.
She has a very unpleasant mind, poor Violet. I suppose it must be the result of so much repression.
Repression of what, dear?
Everything.
Oh, she lacks opportunities. It's her clothes, I think.
They don't lack opportunities. They grab them wholeheartedly.
I've never seen so many things on one woman.
What was the meaning of that hat?
Oh, it appeared to be kept on my suction. Oh, shall we have a drink?
Oh, no, not on empty tummies.
Oh, well, I shall get deep depression if we don't.
Oh, well. We shall lapse into complete silliness, and when Maurice does come, we shall giggle helplessly at him and our heads will wobble.
Yes, madam.
Martinis, please, Saunders. Strong ones.
Oh, Julia.
Very strong ones.
Yes, madam.
And if one isn't enough, we shall have two.
Not on your life.
If you will allow me to say so, madam, several drinks never do any harm. It's only the first which is dangerous. After that, the damage is done.
Obviously, you speak from experience.
I used to be a barmaid, madam.
Oh. Well, all I ask is that she was never an item in the news of the world.
Julia, I don't believe he ever will come.
No, neither do I. It's probably all an elfin joke. He was always being elfin.
And so terribly unreliable.
Wouldn't trust him an inch.
I never did.
All the same, he was a darling.
Adorable, damn him.
And he doesn't know many people in England.
I think he will come.
And so do I.
And he'll kiss our hands and look up at us while he does it. You remember?
Oh, I remember all that.
And then he'll laugh and show all his teeth.
Many more than usual.
You know what we're doing, don't you?
What?
Working ourselves up.
Oh, we have been all day.
Oh, I should like to scream and roll around on the floor.
Oh, so should I. But we must restrain ourselves.
Oh, it's want of food.
That's what it is.
Oh, don't let's wait any longer.
All right. Thank you, Saunders. And dinner, please, Saunders.
And quickly.
Yes, madam.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Shall I open the champagne?
Oh, not yet.
Yes. Open it, Saunders. Champagne is a great strengthener.
Listen, there's a taxi. Oh, it's stopping outside.
Quick.
Oh, it's too dark. I can't see.
Who's got a black
Oh,
hat?
it must be.
Oh, no, it's that beastly woman from upstairs. How dare she drive about in a taxi?
Oh, look, there's another coming round the corner.
Dinner is served, madam.
It was lovely of you to think of oysters, dear.
Well, they do give one a grand feeling. It's awfully necessary for us to feel grand tonight.
Wouldn't it be awful if Freddie and Willy came home?
Oh, shush, Saunders.
Drunk.
What do you mean?
I said, wouldn't it be dreadful if Fred and Willy came home drunk?
Why should they?
Oh, don't be silly, Julia.
Oh, yes, of course. Frightful, I'd forgotten it for Saturday.
Saturday?
Yes, but it's naturally depressing in November because of the fog.
Oh, yes, of course, but only if you pay your subscription in advance.
Thank you, Saunders. Oh, poor Saunders.
She looked extremely startled.
Now, you really must be more careful, Jane.
I'm sorry, but I quite forgot she was there.
I say, wouldn't it be too wonderful if he suddenly arrived now?
Oh, I should choke.
We're bound to get the most frightful shock when we do see him.
Well, I don't really see why.
He's bound to have got fat or something.
Oh, no, he won't have changed. He wouldn't come at all if he had, because he's far too conceited.
Oh, no, not conceited. A little vain, perhaps, naturally.
Oh, with those eyes, who can blame him?
And those hands.
And teeth.
And legs. Oh, Jane.
Oh, Julia.
Oh,
Madam.
The The cushions of the carriages are always so dusty, I find.
She ought never to have been burnt at the stake because she's such a very nice girl.
Oh, I can hardly wait for strawberries to come in again.
Be careful, madam. It's very hot.
Thank you, I will.
Will you have some more champagne?
No, thank you.
Oh, come on, do.
Oh, well, teach it up.
Yeah, I'm feeling much better now. Aren't you?
Yes. I adore this little sausage with my egg.
Oh, yes, it is sweet, isn't it?
I suddenly have beastly pangs about Fred and Willy.
Oh, so have I.
We're being so disloyal.
Yes, but only in thought so far.
He's probably gone straight to a hotel. He'll have a lovely hot bath, change his clothes, and come on hereafter.
I wonder.
Oh, yes. He always had a bath after a journey, remember?
I haven't forgotten, dear.
And he'll wear a soft silk shirt with his dinner jacket. So beautifully careless.
Oh, do stop, Jane. You're making me feel dreadful.
I can see him now, threading his way between the tables outside Floyer's on the Piazza San Marco. We used to have coffee there always, and then stroll languidly along the Piazzetta. I wore a lovely green shawl, and then drift over the lagoon, hitch our gondola to a serenata, and lie back and look up at the stars while darling little men in soft shirts poured out their sentimental souls in the most shattering tenor voices. Sometimes you wouldn't stop at all.
No.
But just glide on over the Piccolo Canales until we suddenly came out into the big lagoon behind Venice, away from everywhere. Just one or two buildings rising up like ghosts through the mist. Then Maurice would take me in his arms, and the world seemed to go.
West of circuses, I'm always so terrified that they ill-treat the animals.
Poor George, oh, poor George, and he was so charming before we married.
Oh, I hope you haven't forgotten the sauce béarnaise, Saunders.
No, madam. It's here.
I'm sure it'll be most delicious.
I have some more champagne.
All right.
Pull yourself together, Jane.
I can't. It's agony.
No, leave the potatoes, Saunders, and answer the door.
Oh, very good, madam. Eat a little soft bread, madam.
Oh, don't let him in. Not yet.
Eat some bread, Jane. Saunders told you to, and she always knows best.
Oh, it's all right. I'm better.
It's a foreign gentleman, madam.
Well, why didn't you show him in?
He says he won't come in. He only wants to know if there's a Madame Gambaletti living here.
Well, what's he like?
Quite respectable, madam, but with a long moustache.
Oh, come on, Jane. We'll pee. Oh. Well, why didn't you tell him there was no Madam What's-her-name here and get rid of him?
You said you were expecting a foreign gentleman, madam, and I thought I'd better keep him in case.
Well, get rid of him now.
Very good, madam.
Oh, it's downright cruel. That's what it
Well, it's
is.
the first time that anybody not aggressively English has rung that bell since we came
And
here.
he would come after his beastly Madame Gambaletti tonight of all nights. It's indecent.
More champagne.
No, thank you.
Well, don't shout.
I shall shout if I like, Julia. You mustn't be dictatorial.
Well, let's have a toast.
Maurice Duclos.
Maurice Duclos. No heel-taps. Oh.
That was silly on us.
Oh, no heel-taps. I eat some steak. Quickly.
Julia, wouldn't it be awful if a tree blew down and killed Fred and Willy on the golf links?
Oh, Jane. How can you?
Well, it would serve us right.
It'd be too awful. I should never forgive myself.
Neither should I.
There's a frightful gale blowing.
Oh, the wind. Oh, such things do happen.
No, they don't. Not if you don't think about them. It's mind over matter.
Oh, Julia, I do admire you because you're so strong and sensible.
No nonsense, dear. It's just that I'm not afraid of life.
You're brave.
But I'm no braver than you, Jane, darling.
Oh, we must both be brave, always.
Well, we must be brave always, whatever happens.
Even if Fred and Willy were killed, we should have to bear it.
Oh, yes, Jane. We wouldn't break down, would we? We'd face the world with a smile.
Well, not quite a smile, because we might be misunderstood.
Oh, poor darling Fred. I can see Fred now being carried in on a stretcher.
There's Willy on another stretcher. Oh, dear.
Oh, no, Jane, dear, don't. Have some more champagne.
No, thank you.
Here you are.
Oh, thanks, darling.
The silly part is that I'm now beginning to feel sleepy.
No, I'm not. I'm just cozy.
Now I'm terribly, terribly sleepy. Bring in the coffee, Saunders.
Yes, madam.
Julia, what a pretty girl Saunders is.
Oh, yes, isn't she a pretty girl?
You know she ought to be a great success in life because she's so calm.
Oh, dear.
What are you laughing at?
Oh, you look frightfully funny.
Oh, what's the matter with me?
I don't know, you just do.
Oh, so do you. Oh, have a look at yourself.
You know, it's our heads, I think. They're far too big.
That's because we've had too much champagne.
Oh, much too much.
Let's sit down.
All right.
Wouldn't it be awful if the King and Queen suddenly came in?
Oh, I don't think they will. They're at Sandringham. Anyway, Saunders would announce them.
I'm beginning to feel warm and comfortable.
Yes, I'm feeling absolutely splendid myself. I couldn't feel better. A child could play with me.
I don't mind what happens now. I'm just past everything.
Ah, thank you, Saunders. Now, will you have some coffee?
Thank you.
Liqueur?
Don't be ridiculous.
Benedictine, please, Saunders.
Yes, madam.
Should we have them in tumblers?
I ordered Benedictine for you. I thought it would round off the meal so nicely.
It certainly will.
Oh, beg your pardon.
Oh, it's terribly strong.
Yes, well, it's supposed to make you feel rather...
Oh, how thoughtful of you, dear.
Will you have some fruit?
Oh, I couldn't.
Oh, do. It rounds off the meal so
Oh,
nicely.
For God's sake, stop rounding off the meal because it's getting on my nerves.
Don't be so temperamental, Jane.
Well, it's only a suggestion, but do you think it would matter if I took off my shoes?
Oh, no, not in the least. They always do in Japan, I believe. It's quite an old custom.
If Maurice had any instincts, he'd arrive now, looking marvellous.
I make the most lovely sort of baffled scene.
What would baffle him?
Well, us, of course, because we'd be so gloriously aloof and stately.
Oh, I shouldn't be aloof. I should give in without a murmur.
Oh, well, then he'd want me more.
Well, if you think that's the way to make him, you better encourage me.
Oh, you don't need any encouraging.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, what I say. Anyway, Jane, I should never allow you to cheapen yourself.
How dare you?
How dare I what?
Insult me.
But I didn't insult you.
You did. You went too far. What you said was beyond a joke.
It wasn't meant to be a joke. I hate jokes bitterly.
Then you meant what I said.
Meant what?
How could anyone carry on a conversation with you when you keep on saying what all the time? If you can't say what I grasp, you'd better go to bed.
That was exceedingly rude of you, Jane.
I'm sorry, Julia, but you're annoying me.
Unfortunately, this happens to be my flat.
Never mind, you'll get used to it in time.
Oh, stop bickering,
How
Jane.
can I stop bickering when you sit there abusing me?
I never abused you.
Yes, you did. You insinuated that I was brazen.
Well, so you are brazen sometimes. We all are. It's human nature to be brazen
Nothing of the
sometimes.
sort.
Oh, do stop contradicting everything I say. It's infuriating me now.
Who was it who wouldn't leave London this morning?
But why should I want to leave London this morning? I'm very, very disappointed in you. I thought you had a nicer mind than that.
I suppose you think your mind is a lovely gilt basket filled with mixed fruit with a bow on the top.
But it's better than being an old sardine tin with a few fins left in it.
You regret that remark in your soberer moments.
Have a cigarette.
Thank you.
A light.
No, thank you.
Perhaps you'd like a little soft music. Shall I put the gramophone on?
Yes, if it had put you in a better temper.
Oh, I had such an amusing letter from Aunt Harriet this morning.
Did you? I thought she was dead.
I think you must be muddling her up with someone else.
Go on, dear. Tell me some more news. I love you when you're offended.
Oh, I'm not offended, Jane. A little hurt, perhaps, in surprise.
How dare you draw yourself up and become the outraged hostess with me?
Well, I'm sorry. I must have lost my sense of humour. Perhaps because I'm tired. We've been together so much lately, I think we're grating on one another's
Oh,
nerves.
you're right. Now, tell me, where are my shoes?
I really don't know, but they can't have gone far.
Oh, I should like to shake you until your eyes drop out.
Indeed.
Yes, when you're superior and grand like that, you rouse the very worst in me.
Obviously.
You make me feel like a French Revolution virago. Julia, I'd like to rush up and down Bond Street with one of your tiny heads on a pole.
I think it would be as well for you to pull yourself together, and I'll ask Saunders to help you to your
If
flat.
she comes near me, I shall throttle her.
Oh, I've never actually seen you violent before. It's very interesting, psychologically.
I could bring you down to earth in one moment if I liked.
Oh, what vulgarity.
This is not vulgarity. It's something I was more ashamed of than vulgarity. But I'm not ashamed of it anymore, Julia. I've kept something from you.
I wish you'd go home, Jane.
I must have realised all along you were going to turn out false and beastly.
So what are you talking
Never
about?
you mind what I'm talking about. Oh, where are my shoes?
Never mind about your shoes. What do you mean?
Give me my shoes.
Oh, well, they're probably under the table.
Oh, I suppose you're still far too grand to be curious. It concerns Maurice.
Oh, it concerns Maurice, does it?
Yes, I thought that would rouse you.
Well, I think you better tell me if you don't want to wreck our friendship forever.
Oh, it'll certainly wreck our friendship when I do tell you, and I don't care. Julia, I know where he is.
Well, that's a lie.
No, it's true. He telephoned me while I was dressing tonight.
Jane!
Yes, I didn't want to tell you because I thought it would have hurt your feelings, but now I know that you haven't got any feelings to hurt. Only a shallow sort of social vanity.
Well, where is he then? Tell me.
I shall do nothing of the sort. I don't want you to rush round there and make a fool of yourself.
Oh, how dare you! How dare you! I'll never speak to you again in all my life. You're utterly, completely contemptible. If it's true, you're nothing but a snivelling hypocrite, and if it's false, you're a barefaced liar. There's nothing to choose between you. Please go at once.
Go? I'm only too delighted. Oh, you must curb your social sense, Julia, if it leads you to drunken orgies and abuse.
Oh, go away.
Certainly I shall. And it may interest you to know that I'm going straight to Maurice.
Liar, liar.
It's true. And I shall go away with him at once. And you and Fred and Willy can go to hell. The whole lot of you.
Oh, no. When I say a soft-boiled egg, Saunders, I don't mean an unboiled egg.
So long as I know, madam.
There was also a long blonde hair in the marmalade.
Was there, madam?
I haven't the remotest idea how it got there, as we are both distinct brunettes. Anyway, please in future search the marmalade.
Very good, madam.
And you may clear away now.
Very good, madam.
Hello, operator. Operator? Park 5703, please. Yes, 03. Oops, I do beg your pardon. But it can't possibly still be engaged, my good woman. You suffer from both incompetence and stupidity.
Good morning, Julia.
Huh? Oh, Willy. What on earth are you doing here? Where's Fred?
I left him at the Grand Hotel, Chichester.
Where's Jane?
Don't you know?
I haven't the faintest idea. She might be anywhere by now.
What do you mean by now?
Just by now.
What's the matter?
Nothing.
What's happened?
Oh, everything, probably, by now.
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
don't be tiresome, Willy.
I made sure Jane would be with you. Where's she gone?
Stop cross-questioning me, and anyone would think I'd murdered her and put her in a box or something.
Well, from the furtive way you're behaving, I shouldn't be in the least surprised.
What about you? What do you mean by leaving Fred alone at the Grand Hotel, Chichester?
We had a row last night.
Oh, did you?
Yes, Fred infuriated
Well,
me.
I'm very sorry. I'll speak to him severely.
Thank you. I felt I couldn't bear to meet him at breakfast and go all over it again, so I crept out and left by the early train.
What did you row about?
Nothing.
That's the worst kind.
Have you quarrelled with Jane?
Yes, bitterly.
What about?
Nothing.
Oh.
Got drunk.
What?
Extremely drunk.
Julia,
Oh, Jane was much worse than I was.
if I can't go away for a quiet game of golf without you making Jane drunk...
I didn't make her. It was voluntary.
Disgusting, I call it.
Banged out of the flat.
Well, where is she now?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Well, don't be callous, Julia.
Probably at home in bed, sleeping it off.
She isn't. I've just been there.
But I thought you came straight here.
No, I had a large bag and golf clubs.
Are you sure that Jane isn't at home?
Perfectly. I didn't worry because I thought she'd be with you.
Well, then it was true, then.
What was true?
Oh.
What in God's name's the matter?
And I was going to ring her up and try to make friends again. Didn't believe for a moment that she was going off.
Didn't believe what?
Oh, she must have been steadily deceiving me all through dinner. And how dare she? Oh, no!
Julia, will you stop still and explain what's happened?
I'll stop still and explain. I'll explain, all right. Sly underhand.
Will you
little-
please remember that you are referring to my wife?
Your wife. Oh, optimist.
Julia,
Oh, Willy, my poor Willy.
you're maddening me,
To
Julia.
think that she could behave like that after all these years. It's contemptible.
What's happened to Jane? Where's she gone?
I should like to break it to you gently, Willy. She's gone off with a man.
What?
A Frenchman.
Nonsense. She can't have.
I tell you she has.
I don't believe it. You're unhinged.
I'm perfectly hinged, it's true.
I'm sorry, Julia, but I don't believe it. I know Jane too well. She'd never rush off like that at a moment's notice.
She knew where he was all the time, and she went to him.
She was pulling your leg.
Oh, don't be so pig-headed, Willy. This is one of the few big moments in your life, and you're behaving like a ninny.
If you think stamping up and down the room and blackguarding Jane is a big moment in my life, you're very much mistaken.
But it's true. She's known him for years. She was in love with him before she married you.
Don't be ridiculous.
Oh, your smug complacency is beyond belief. I suppose you think that no woman would ever dare to leave you.
Jane couldn't. She'd hate it.
Well, you're going to have a shattering awakening.
I say, Julia, just calm down and explain things quietly. I'll pour myself out some coffee, if I may.
Oh, Willy. Oh.
What's up now?
I'm a beast. A traitress.
No, you're not. You're just thoroughly hysterical. You'll be better in a moment.
But, Willy, I'm sorry, but what I told you just now was true, Willy.
I am trying hard to understand. I can't help feeling that there's something awfully silly behind all this. Who is this man she's supposed to be with?
Oh, he's a Frenchman. Maurice Duclos. Both knew him before we were married.
Did you know him well?
Extremely well.
And Jane? Was Jane in love with him then?
Yes, violently. We both were.
Did you, did you?
Yes, Willy.
Where?
Pisa.
And did Jane ever...
Yes, Willy.
Good God, where?
Venice, I think.
Oh, this is horrible. Incredible.
Oh, look, Willy, I'm
You
sorry.
better save your apologies for Fred. I'm going to find Jane.
Oh, well, then I'm coming with you, Willy.
Has she seen this man since we've been married?
No. At least I don't know. She's such a liar.
I think you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Willy, are you daring to disapprove of me?
Yes, you're devoid of the slightest moral sense.
And what about Jane?
Jane? Jane's different. She's just weak. You probably set her a bad example.
I set her a
I
bad
wouldn't
example.
mind betting you met the beastly man first and then told Jane all about it and generally egged her on.
Oh, she didn't need any egging on. She met him and then she didn't tell me anything about it for ages afterwards.
She was probably too ashamed and repentant.
Repentant, my foot.
Anyhow, it's more than you are. You're positively glorying in your shame.
If I'd known what a smug little man you were, I'd never have let Jane marry you
And
anyway.
if I'd known how utterly lacking you were in all the finer feelings, I'd never have let Fred come near you.
Well, I should think it would be as well to stop hurling abuse at me and go in search of your weak but strictly virtuous wife. Oh, if she hasn't succeeded in finding Maurice Duclos by now, is probably roaming about the streets in deep evening dress and hiccuping.
You must come with me.
I shall do no such thing.
You said you would.
Well, that was before your insults to me.
Julia, do come.
And where should we go first? Bow Street?
She can't have gone far.
Judging by her condition when she left this flat last night, she might have gone further than our wildest dreams.
Please come, Julia.
Well, I'll come back to your flat. She may have left a note or something.
Oh, I never thought of that. Look here, Julia, I'm sorry for what I said just now.
And so you ought to be.
But I still don't believe it all, quite.
I want to make one thing perfectly clear to you. I am not coming with you because I wish to help you. I'm coming because I wish to find Jane and tell her exactly what I think of her.
I say, Julia, don't be beastly to her. She's probably feeling pretty awful.
I don't care if she's feeling heavenly. She won't be when I've finished with her.
Hello? Mr. Sterroll's residence? Well, I'm afraid Mrs. Sterroll isn't in. When will she be back? Oh, I don't know, sir. She didn't say. Yes, sir. What name, sir? One moment, sir. I'll write it down on the telephone pad. Maurice... Oh, pardon. Maurice Duclos, Park 9264. Bien, monsieur. Je n'y manquerai pas. Au revoir, monsieur.
Good morning, Saunders.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Where's the mistress?
She's gone out, sir.
Gone out, but it's pouring.
Yes, sir.
Where's she gone?
I don't know, sir.
Oh, she's upstairs with Mrs. Banbury, I expect. Run up, will you, and tell her I've come back?
Very good, sir. What number is it, sir?
Number 5, 2 floors up.
Very good, sir.
I never realized that you cared for me.
Fred.
I never Good heavens!
What?
Have you been out all night?
Yes.
Huh. Lucky for you, I left Willy at Chichester.
Oh, you did you?
Yes, sleeping like a hog. I left early in the car.
Why?
Well, as a matter of fact, we had rather a row last night. If you'll forgive me saying so, your husband is a fool sometimes.
I've always found him extremely intelligent.
Where have you been?
Mind your own business.
Don't jump down my throat. It was quite a harmless question.
I object to your dictatorial tone.
Well, to come in like that at 11 o'clock in the morning is a little...
If I choose to come in naked on a tricycle, it's no affair of yours. Where's Julia?
I don't know. She went out before I arrived.
Out? Out where?
I haven't the faintest idea. I thought she'd probably be with you.
The mistress isn't at Mrs. Banbury's, sir.
Oh, don't look so startled, Saunders. You left the door open, so I walked in.
Yes, madam.
Saunders, what time did the mistress go out?
Just before you came in, sir.
Was she alone?
No, sir. There was a gentleman with her.
A what?
A gentleman, madam.
Who was it?
I don't know, sir. He didn't leave any name. He just walked straight in.
What was he like?
About medium height, madam, and dark.
Dark, was he?
Why? What's the matter?
I'm extremely sorry for you, Fred. Extremely sorry for you.
Yes, that'll do, Saunders.
Very good, sir.
Now then, Jane, what do you mean?
Don't speak to me for a moment. Just don't speak to me. I'm trying to control myself.
What's all this mystery about?
There is no mystery, I'm afraid. Not anymore. It's all far too clear.
Jane, tell me at once what's happened.
Fred, you'll know all too soon enough. Julia was my friend. I have no intention of being disloyal.
Jane, tell me what
I
happened.
can't possibly. Julia may be double-faced, treacherous, and thoroughly immoral, but I repeat, she was my friend.
Oh, I see. You had a row last night, too.
Yes, we did.
What about?
I don't know. Julia spoke rather indistinctly.
Do you know where she's gone now?
I have a shrewd suspicion, but my lips are sealed.
Tell me at once.
I can't possibly. Oh! What's this? Oh, no! No!
What's the matter now?
So she knew all the time! Oh!
Knew what?
How dare she? How dare she? It's contemptible. It's... Oh! The sneaking hypocrite. Oh, the despicable squalor of it all, to be deceived like that by one's best friend and for such a sordid purpose. Oh! Oh! Oh!
Let's have a look at that message pad. Who's this Maurice Duclos?
Don't speak to me. Don't speak to me.
What does this mean?
It means that Julia has deserted you.
Deserted me?
Yes, she's gone off with that Frenchman, Maurice Duclos. She's known him for years, long before you were married, in Italy.
Are you mad, Jane?
No, I'm terribly sane.
But you surely don't expect me to believe that Julia would leave me suddenly without rhyme or reason?
Oh, she'd do anything. She hasn't a single scruple or a pang of conscience anywhere. She'd lie, slander, forge, thieve, murder, anything. She's a thorough, out-and-out bad lot. She's a...
Oh, pull yourself together, Jane. You're overwrought just because you've had a row with Julia.
No, go away, go away. Leave me alone.
You know perfectly well you like her better than anyone else in the world and always will.
Stop, Fred, stop.
She's probably feeling just as bad as you are at this very moment.
Not she. She's far too busy.
Jane, do please control yourself.
I came back, even before going home, because I wanted to make up with her. I've had a wretched night all by myself in a hotel in Bayswater.
Why on earth Bayswater?
Because the taxi man took me there. Oh, Fred. Fred, I'll tell you everything.
Yes.
It's awful. Julia and I were both drunk.
Oh.
And before we were married, we both had an affair with the same man, and
No.
he's come to England. And we were terrified we'd fall in love with him again. We worked ourselves up and waited, and after dinner, Julia got grand and ordered me out of the house. So I pretended I knew where he was and was going straight to him. And I went to a hotel in Bayswater.
Was he there?
Was he there?
Yes.
No, of course he wasn't.
Where is he then?
With Julia.
Ridiculous. I don't believe a word of it.
Nothing of the sort. Here's his name, and it's in capitals on the telephone block, and Saunders saw them go out together.
You say you both knew him in Italy before you were married?
Yes, Fred.
And you both?
Yes, Fred.
Oh, don't stand there and say yes, Fred.
Well, it's true, Fred.
You appall me absolutely, you dreadful matter-of-fact callousness. Yes, Fred. Oh, my God.
Don't be so melodramatic.
Melodramatic. It's horrible, awful. I suppose you feel proud of yourself having led Julia into this blackguard's clutches.
Led her? That's funny.
Yes, led her, deliberately. You've got a depraved mind.
And you are insufferable and pompous. I suppose you expect me to believe you led a model life before marriage.
That's beside the point.
No, it isn't. If you had, Julia would never have married. You would have been far too dull.
Jane!
Well, it's no use going on like that. It's just stupid. The great thing is, what are we going to do now?
Do? I'm going to find Julia.
That'll be nice.
And you're coming with me.
Oh, no, I'm not. I've seen quite enough of Julia to last me for the rest of my life.
You're coming with me.
Oh, no, I can't go like this.
You'll have to.
Oh, let me go at once.
I'm quite determined.
Help! Fred!
Jane!
Julia!
Where have you been?
So it was you who went out with Julia and
Good
not...
morning, Jane.
Julia, I've done something awful.
I'm not at all surprised.
How did you get up here?
I left by the early train.
Julia, you must listen. I haven't been where you thought. I've been all by myself at a hotel in Bayswater.
What?
Well, I came back here to find you and found Fred. Saunders said she'd seen you go out with a man, and I found his name on the telephone block.
Oh, what are we to do now? Jane, I think it only fair for you to know that I've told Willy everything.
Julia?
Yes, everything.
And I told Fred a good deal, too.
Oh.
I want to get this cleared up, please. Willy, what has Julia told you?
About Jane and a snivelling Frenchman in Venice.
Hypocrite.
What's Jane told you?
About Julia and a Frenchman in Pisa.
Well, I'll never speak to you again in all my
But
life.
it's not true. We made it up. It's all a joke.
She's lying, Julia. Tell me the truth.
Yes, certainly I will. It's all a fuss about nothing. Well, Jane and I have been perfectly faithful to you both always.
Before marriage?
Well, we couldn't be faithful to you before we met you, could we?
Is this Frenchman's story true?
Jane, forgive me for everything. We've got to stand together now. They're both going to be perfectly beastly.
All right. Willy.
Fred, listen. You must
I-
listen.
Monsieur Maurice Duclos.
Julia! Oh, comme c'est très longtemps, c'est émotionnant.
Oh,
Jane, je suis enchanté, ravi, ma chère Jane.
Julia.
this is agony. Sheer agony.
Willy, may I present Monsieur Duclos, my husband?
Good morning.
How do you do?
Maurice, this is my husband.
Oh, how do you do? I had no idea. I haven't seen Julia for so long.
When did you last see Jane?
Yeah, beg your pardon.
And shut up, Willy.
Well, you speak English very well now.
Oh, yes.
Do you think we've changed?
Oh, not at all. Yeah, I met your wife abroad years ago. It is so strange renewing old friendships.
Damn strange.
Willy.
I should like to have a little chat with you sometime, Monsieur Duclos. There are several things I want explained.
I will be charmed.
I can't stand this any longer. Look here. You arrived at a very opportune moment. We've just discovered that...
What have you discovered?
Maurice, let me explain. Our husbands have found out that you and Jane and I were very intimate friends in Italy some years ago. They've only just this moment found out. And I must apologize for their surly behavior, but they're naturally rather upset.
Oh, it has succeeded beyond your wildest dreams, and hasn't it?
What do you mean?
It was cruel of you to ask me here this morning without warning me. It was cruel of you. It would serve you right if I gave you away.
You needn't trouble. They've already done that for themselves.
Yeah, please. Julia, let me tell them the truth.
Yes, Maurice, please tell them the truth.
I'm going mad.
Be quiet, Jane.
I'm afraid we already know the truth. There's nothing much more to be said.
So, You love your wife, monsieur?
Mind your own business.
What do you mean? What are you getting at?
I have your permission to speak, Julia.
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, I'm afraid it's all been rather what you would call a put-up job.
Put-up job?
Yes, you see, I have known Jane and Julia for a very long while. They're great friends. They confide in me.
The hell they do.
It would make it much easier, monsieur, if you were not so angry. I give you my word, there is nothing to worry about.
I'm glad you think so. We have rather a different sense of values in England.
Here, here.
An obvious remark, monsieur, and not very much to the point.
And what is the point?
Had not the suspicion ever crossed your minds that here in England, the husbands take their wives a little too much for granted sometimes?
So they ought to.
Huh? It's a little dull for the wives. In France, of course, it's all arranged so differently. There are so many diversions.
What are you trying to say?
Perhaps Jane and Julia require a little more attention than you are prepared to give.
Rubbish.
It isn't rubbish, is it, Julia?
Certainly not.
What I want to know is whether this revolting story is true. Is it or isn't it?
But of course it isn't. We made a plan, Julia, Jane, and myself.
God impertinent.
Well, you see, after a time, one reaches a rather critical matrimonial period, as a rule. The first romance is over, everything seems slightly gauche. Our plan was to rouse you up to a sense of your responsibilities, don't you see?
That was extremely kind of you.
Oh, don't go on being cross, Fred. It's all such ridiculous nonsense.
I don't understand at all.
Well, we've muddled it so fearfully, or at least you did, by coming home unexpectedly. It's taken all the wind out of our sails. Jane was going to break it to Fred that I'd run off with Maurice, and I was going to break it to Willy that she'd run off with Maurice. And as it was, you appeared much too early before we were properly rehearsed. Oh, it's such supreme nonsense, so please forgive us.
How long have you been in England?
3 weeks.
Was this what you were hinting at yesterday morning, Julia, when you said that you had a presentiment and that I didn't love you anymore?
Oh, no.
Yes! Don't you see? She was paving the way. That's what she was doing.
Shush, Jane.
I shan't shush. It's all so stupid. And we were right. It's cleared the air. They were too sure of us. Much.
No, will you have a drink, Maurice? Fred is still too flurried to be hospitable.
Oh, I'm sorry. It never struck me. Whiskey and soda.
No, thank you. I'll really only come down for a minute. I have the flat exactly above this one for a year.
What?
And Jane and Julia promised to help me to choose an attractive cretonne for my curtain.
Oh, yes, we did. That's quite true. Oh, pull yourself together, Jane.
Perhaps you'd all come up. It's a bit untidy at present, but you won't mind.
No, thanks. I've got to change.
Oh, they're sending for the patterns back at 12 o'clock.
Oh, we'll come up now.
Oh, look here, Julia.
Would you rather I didn't, Fred?
No. Well, perhaps it's all right. Look, I must apologize to you for being so boorish. It was all very puzzling.
Come on, Jane.
Will you all lunch with me today? It's so dull being alone.
Thanks, but I think that I...
Yes, it's very nice of you. We'd be delighted.
Oh, look here, Fred.
Shut up, Willy.
Oh, you are a darling, Fred. Now, come along, Maurice. We won't be more than 10 minutes, Fred, darling, choosing the patterns.
Oh, Willy, don't be cross.
But I don't quite see why.
Don't try to see any
But
more.
Jane,
No more buts.
But Jane, why are you in evening dress?
Yes. Well, it was all part of the plan, wasn't it, Julia? You were to discover me dead drunk in the downstairs hall, and we were going to rehearse this morning.
Yes, well, come along now, Jane.
You know, it's damn funny. It really is.
What?
The way we arrived and spoiled our little game.
But look here, Fred.
Have a drink.
Oh, all right.
You never know what Jane and Julia will do next when they start discussing analytically.
It isn't what they'll do next. It's what they did last.
I don't think he's at all a bad chap, that Frenchman.
Oh, I wouldn't trust him an inch.
The lies they told.
Thanks. You seem to have completely wiped it from your mind, the whole thing.
Well, I never believed Jane from the first when she told me that lurid story about Italy.
Oh, it seems very queer to me still.
Oh, dry up.
But it does, even if they got away with their scheme. What good would it have done them?
Made us jealous.
Oh, don't be an abject fool, Fred. He was bluffing us. Yeah, the whole damn thing's true from beginning to end. I'm sure of it.
Why?
I've never seen Jane hysterical like that before. She must have been upset over something.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am. Do you realize that we've let them both go up to his flat alone?
Willy,
Fred!
Isabel Dean and Mary Wimbush played Jane and Julia in Noel Coward's Fallen Angels. Their husbands were played by Michael Spice and William Fox. Saunders was played by Hilda Schroder, and Maurice Duclos by Nigel Graham. The play was adapted and produced by IAN COTTERELL.